that everyone has come out early, and I won't hold up the time any longer. We're going to get started for today's activities. So my name is Brittany Clark. I have the honor and pleasure of being your moderator for today's session. And for today, we have the scholarship and financing seminar where we'll be sharing some information on how you can get some financing for your tertiary education or for future studies. So this event is put on by the Jamaica Tertiary Education Commission, of course, and this is just an opportunity for you to get some information, for you to do your succession planning or do your preparations for education. As we know that the cost of education can be extremely overwhelming when we have to think about where we're going to find the money, where are we going to find the resources, or what even are the resources available to us. So of course, through this webinar, we'll be sharing that information. You'll be learning about scholarships, financing options, so much more. We have a wonderful panel of persons who will be making some presentations to you. But of course, I just like everyone to drop an emoji in the chat. How are you feeling? Are you excited about today's session? Are you looking forward to it? And if you have any questions that you'd like answered throughout today's webinar, you can of course drop those in the chat and we will address them as we move forward. All right, so my name is Brittany Clark, as I mentioned. If you're just coming on, welcome, welcome. This is our scholarship and financing webinar, right? Hosted by J-TEC. And we'll be learning so much information in this session. Now, to give you an overview of what to expect, and a little about the J-TEC Scholarship Database and what's available to you, I'll invite Tracy Ann Smith, our Director for Policy Planning and Research, to do that presentation. So without further ado, Ms. Tracy Ann, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Brittany. Good morning, everyone. Happy to have you online with us this morning for our 2025 Scholarship and Financing webinar. As Brittany Clark just said a while ago, we are the Jamaica Tertiary Education Commission, and we are an agency of the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth, and Information. So as the regulator and supervisory body for the tertiary sector, it is our vision to ensure that we have a higher education system that is of the highest quality, driving national and personal development. And as students, as one of our primary stakeholders, we want to ensure that students have access to the right information, to up-to-date and current information that will help them to navigate their tertiary journey. And as part of that, we want to ensure that as it relates to financing, that information is also readily available to our prospective and current students within our higher education system. And so the Jamaica Tertiary Commission has developed over a number of years a scholarship database, which we believe is a very important tool for anyone wanting financing to help with their tertiary studies. And so we have developed this database that has a list of local as well as international scholarships that Jamaican students can access, grants, bursaries, as well as loans. So I'm going to try and share screen right now to show you how you can access our scholarship database. Let me see how I can share screen. All right. All right, let me know if you are seeing my screen. All right, so to access...
Recording in progress.
All right, so to access our scholarship database, you would go to jtech.gov.jm and you see the URL right there. And then you go to resources and events and go to Student Center. And then once you get on that page, you will click scholarships. Now, this is what the platform looks like. It's pretty basic, pretty easy to use, very user-friendly. And you see that we have several tabs here. As I said before, we have Jamaican scholarships that students can access to study locally, as well as international scholarships that if you are interested in studying overseas, that is also there. So the tool is very easy to use, and we have over 500 scholarships. That's an increase in terms of what we found last year. We have over 60 bursaries and grants, as well as educational loans. My last tabulation indicated that we have over 60 million Jamaican dollars worth of scholarships available to students. And so I'm just going to do a quick demonstration of how you can utilize or use a scholarship database. So we have the search feature there, where you come to this icon where you see my mouses, and you can search via keywords or the name of the scholarship. We want to make it easier because we don't expect students, parents, guidance counselors, etc., to go through over 600 records. That's going to be too time consuming. So if you are an engineering student and you want to see the scholarships are available for engineering, you can simply type in engineering, and you'll see here, based on the narrative, that we have about 30 records for engineering. So you'll go to the area that is highlighted. Let me see if I can scroll across. So you'll see the name of the scholarship, the area of study, engineering here, the eligibility. So we also ensure that we have the eligibility criteria, the amount being awarded, the organization offering the scholarship, the selection criteria, the method of selection, tenure, number of awards, as well as the deadline, the website link that students can access to find out more information on these scholarships, right? So there's another one here for Faculty of Engineering, Young Jamaican Scholar Book Grant. Similarly, the information on the selection criteria, method of selection, where you can access this scholarship is available through the UMONA, a deadline, and just indicate we're in prime scholarship season. So normally scholarship season begins in the early part of April, and our guests that are online with us would go into more details in terms of their deadlines and the requirement of their scholarship. So we're in prime scholarship season right now, and this goes up until about late July, early August. But nonetheless, there are still other scholarships that are available in the latter part of the year that students can have access to. Say you want to search by, say, the name of an entity. We have Chase here. As I said before, we have both local and international scholarship. We had so many scholarships for the Jamaican tab that we had to put some in the other tab that says local and international scholarship. And I think that's where we have Chase. Right. So we have the Chase Fund Scholarship, and our guest is online with us this morning. Will provide more details in how you can access these scholarships. And onto international scholarships. As I said before, we have persons that might want to experience their tertiary studies in another jurisdiction. We have scholarships. At the Cuba-Jamaica Bilateral Scholarship, we have scholarships for persons interested in studying in China, Serbia. We have the Fulbright Scholarship. So we have a whole host of scholarships that for students that also want to consider going across the waters and studying outside of Jamaica. There's also bursaries that we have in our database. And similarly, the headings remain in terms of the area of study, the eligibility, the institution where it is tenable, as well as the website link for further details. Now we're moving on to grants. We have over 32 grants, I believe, in this tab. And the details similarly are there in terms of the entity or the organization offering the grant, the amount, the selection criteria. So what we try to do in essence is to provide the most critical information that students will need to help them to navigate this journey. So they don't have to be accessing multiple websites at a time to lengthen their research process. We ensure that this tool is available, is current, is up to date of the many financing and scholarship opportunities that are available to students. See, we have Jamvat here, and we have Ms. Williams that will come on next, who would share more details on the scholarship and financing opportunities that are available through the Ministry of Education. We understand that not everyone might not access scholarships. So we also provide other financing alternatives that students can utilize to fund their tertiary education. And so we created a tab on educational loans that students can look into to fund their journey. So we have a student loan bureau, as well as educational loans that are offered from some of our financing institutions. So you'll be able to compare in terms of the loan amount that is offered, the interest rate, under what type of loan it is being offered under, the documents required, as well as the website link, as well and email that students can utilize to get more information. So we are making it a bit easier for our students. So wrapping up now, as I shared before, the link is available through jtech.gov.jm. You go to resources and events, then student center, and then go to scholarships. And that is where you'll be able to access our scholarship database. Should you have any challenges or want to learn further details, I encourage you to send us an email at jtech@moey.gov.jm, or you can give us a call at 977-5115. We are excited to share many of these opportunities that are available to our students, and look forward to share more as we go throughout this webinar. Thank you so much. Over to you, Brittany.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Smith. And I'm impressed by that database because it does show that you have been doing your research on J-TEC side, going through and just curating everything for students to have access to information. So I am pleased with that. And I know that our viewers and listeners, everybody tuning in, is excited to see that there is actually a database. I know I get the question all the time, do you know where I can find scholarships? Do you know about any grants? So this is a great space, and I see that the link has been shared in the chat. Wonderful. One-stop shop for information. Thank you. All right. And I love that you mentioned as well, about access. So we really want persons here on the platform to know that access to education is possible, and there are many different opportunities to do so. As you can see, there is the scholarship database. And when I was going to UWI, we used to hear all the time that there are so many scholarships and grants that go to waste because persons just would not take advantage of the opportunities available to them. So here is your time. You are here. I believe this is like the first introduction, VIP access. We have over 80 persons on the platform right now. So this is your opportunity to take advantage of what's available to you and to spread the word so that other persons can benefit as well. Now we have a representative here from the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information to tell you a little bit more about what the ministry has to offer in terms of scholarships. And I'll call on now Dr. Tamika Benjamin. She's the ACEO for the tertiary unit in the ministry. So over to you, Dr. Benjamin.
Good morning. My name is Michelle Williams. I'm Director for Tertiary Financial Support. So this morning, our presentation will consist of 3 persons. There are 4 persons who work on the Tertiary Student Assistance Program, but it will be 3 of us who will be making the presentation. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so the Tertiary Student Assistance Program comprising, you're not seeing it? One moment, please. me mute. Uh, is still, are you seeing it? I did.
It's coming on now, Miss Williams.
Oh, click this. Click this. Yes. All right. So can't see this. So under the tertiary students assistance programs, there are three categories. We have scholarships, Jamaica Values and Attitudes, JAMVAT, and financial assistance grants. So there are two types of scholarships. There is the traditional scholarships, and there's also the specialized scholarships. So I'll be doing the traditional scholarship while Mrs. Christine French Brown will be doing the specialized scholarships. Under the traditional scholarships, there is the annual Jamaica scholarship, the Emancipation Undergrad scholarships, the University of Technology Jamaica Open Scholarship, Jamaica Government Exhibition Scholarship, Jamaica Technical High School Scholarships, and the Elias A. Issa Scholarship. So I'll be speaking a little on the annual Jamaica scholarships. Those are seven scholarships, namely, you have the Jamaica Male, the Jamaica Female, the Jamaica Independence Open, Jamaica Independence Male, Jamaica Independence Female, the Jamaica Adult Suffrage Open, and the Jamaica Centenary Scholarships. In order for you to be qualified for this particular scholarship, you must be doing 3 core subjects and either communication studies or Caribbean studies. So you could be sitting MOB, accounts, and econ, but you must do both units. Those units must add up to no more than 300 points. So in the first, if you're in lower 6, you would have done 3, and in unit 1 or unit 2, depending on how your school does it. And in grade 13 now, you would be doing the same 3 core subjects along with Caribbean studies or communication studies. In order for you to be awarded that particular one of those scholarships, you must do the 3 core, as I said, but also you must pass either communication studies or Caribbean studies. So say for instance, you would have gotten all A's in the 3 core, but you got a 6 in communication studies or Caribbean studies. You cannot be awarded that scholarship. You must at least get a 4 or a 5, because a 6 is not a pass. Moving on to the Emancipation Undergraduate Scholarship, it's for either UWI or UTEC, and all faculties are available to apply for this scholarship. UTEC Open is self-explanatory. It's for all faculties. There's a Jamaica Government Exhibition Scholarship, which is awarded through the University of the West Indies. You must be in the faculties of social sciences, humanities and education, or science and technology. Just to back up a little bit, the annual Jamaica Scholarship, you must be doing your second units of CAPE in this academic year in order for you to qualify. So you can't be already at the university. You must be just be going in. So for students who will be going in August, they are eligible. It is not for someone who is already at the university. For the exhibition, you can be a first year and a second year and even a third year student who will apply for this scholarship. The Jamaica Technical High School Scholarship is, as it says, Jamaica Technical High School, and it's tenable at UTEC in all faculties. The Elias A. Issa Scholarship is a private scholarship. It is offered by the Issa Foundation, and it's not Issa the secondary, the In-Sport Secondary School Association is the Elias family who has a foundation and offers these scholarships. It's tenable at either UWI or UTEC, and it's all faculties. You must be doing business ad, management studies, and hospitality and tourism. Mrs. French Brown will take over with the specialized scholarships.
Good morning, everybody. Are you hearing me? Okay. All right. So today we will discuss the specialized scholarship. I'll try to be as condensed as I can. These are some of the areas that we offer under the specialized scholarships, which are mainly teaching programs or engineering. And you may be in any program once it's in the faculty of engineering, UE or UTEC, and industrial systems at the CMU. Skip. Okay, at the community colleges, we have recently introduced the following areas: applied computer engineering, applied computer science, criminal justice, information technology management, information systems, and computer application business. Now, so far, we have not seen the take-up of these scholarships, so we ask that you continue to submit your applications. What are the benefits of the scholarships? We offer full tuition fees. Yes, engineering is 1.6 at the UWI, for example. We offer full tuition, miscellaneous fees, book grants, and the boarding is optional. All right, so some of the terms and conditions: candidates must maintain a GPA once you are awarded a scholarship. You must have at least 5 CSEC subjects, including math and English. And for the areas of teaching, we ask that you have the program. So let's say you're doing geography. You must also have geography in a 1 or 2. CAPE subjects are an asset. However, we do accept CSEC subjects for teaching programs. Scholarship awardees are also bonded for a period not exceeding 5 years. And this really means you just work within country, you give back to your country. And fees are payable to the colleges or the university you attend. Scholarships are awarded to students entering the first, second year, and even third year for those doing engineering programs. So this is for the more mature set. If you are a teacher on this platform and you are teaching at the secondary level and not qualified in the area in which you are teaching, let's say you have a degree in accounts, however, you are teaching math, we will upgrade you to the bachelor's in the math. Or if you are a diploma trained teacher, we upgrade you to the bachelor's in your area of specialization. What are the conditions? You must have a teaching diploma at least. You must be in the classroom for at least 2 years. Fees are made payable to the universities only. Candidates will be required to serve a bond as well, not exceeding 5 years. And this is based on the funding, the total funding of your program. This year too, we have also introduced graduate scholarships. Now, if you are a teacher already in the system, or you are trained in psychology, these are some of the programs that we offer at the graduate level: education psychology, speech therapy, clinical psychology, and occupational therapy. You can contact us for more details because we have to keep our presentation condensed. What are the terms and conditions to access this? You must be able to maintain a 3.0 GPA, must be studying at an accredited institution, and the graduate programs are open to both local and overseas universities. You will be bonded to the government of Jamaica, and as I indicated earlier, it depends on the funding access. Fees are made payable to the universities only. And I will ask my colleague, Ms. Charnel Hall, to present on the JAMVAT and the Financial Assistance Program.
One moment before Ms. Hall start. The terms and conditions are for all the scholarships, except in the tuition fee. We do not pay the full fee except for engineering. The self-financing programs, we do not pay those fees except for engineering. Go ahead now, Miss Hall.
All right, morning everyone. All right, so under the TESA program, we also have grants. So we have the JAMVAT program, the Jamaica Values and Attitudes program for tertiary students, and the Financial Assistance Grant program. So although the aim is to assist tertiary students who are in need financially for the upcoming academic year, each calendar year, the 1st of April to June 30, we encourage all students to apply. Under the JAMVAT program, students can receive a 30% benefit of their tuition, not exceeding 350,000, of course. And you can receive this benefit 3 times for the span of your academic life at school. With for the financial assistance grant, you can receive 100,000 of your tuition. However, the condition is that for the JAMVAT program, you would have to do 200 hours of volunteer service. And for the financial assistance grant, you would have to do 100 hours of volunteer service. For the financial assistance grant, it doesn't exceed 300,000. However, this is for students who are pursuing law, medicine, etc. For the JAMVAT program, you would have to be a full-time student, whether it is that you're a new student or returning student. You'd have to be unemployed, ages 18 to 35. Your GPA for the returning student, you must have a GPA of 2.5 and you would have to be a Jamaican citizen. On the financial assistance grant program, the age is for 17 to 40 years of age. You have to be a registered student at an accredited university. What am I missing? You can be full-time, part-time, pursuing a bachelor or an associate degree or a diploma at your tertiary institution. And if it is that you're not qualified for the JAMVAT program based on the GPA standard, you still have a chance of gaining access to the financial assistance program, as a GPA for that one is 2.2. Some of the documents that you will need when you're doing the application for the new students, you're going to need your acceptance letter. If it is that you are a returning student, you will need the status letter, which will reflect if you're a full-time or part-time student. You're also going to need a tuition letter, which gives us the breakdown of what your tuition will cost for the academic year. You will also need your progress report for the returning student. That one will give us the evidence of your GPA. You're going to need a passport size photo, certified copies of your TRN and birth certificate or valid ID. And in the instance for the financial assistance grant, you're going to need a job letter if it is that you are employed. So how to apply? To apply for the scholarship and grant, the information is on the portal. So using the link provided, you would click that link, do a registration, a short registration process. A confirmation is sent to your email, and from there you'll be able to access the platform, which will also give you details for each scholarship and grant. And the process is that simple. Oh yes, once you click the registration, the confirmation code is sent to your email or your spam folder, and then you can access the portal from there. And that's our presentation. So if it is that you need to contact us, you have the email addresses provided on screen and the telephone numbers for each program. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Williams. So I see the hands being raised, but again, a wealth of opportunities available there through the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth, and Information. So as you realized as well, there are several tiers that would support options for you to get financing for your education. Of course, the scholarship arm, there's the JAMVAT, and of course, the grants and other opportunities. And I hope you made note of the requirements as well, because of course there are some documents that are required, but there's also the GPA requirements. So we will just want to give you the opportunity, but we want to encourage you to maintain that standard of excellence that would have given you the opportunity in the first place. So I noticed that there were some questions in the chat earlier. So addressing the question about the recording. So yes, we are streaming this session live. You can check out the post-production version of it on our YouTube channel. So yes, it's being recorded. Yes, it's being streamed, and you will be able to access. I saw a question here about scholarship opportunities available to international students studying in a full-time course in Jamaica. I believe that question was addressed in both the J-TEC presentation and in this presentation. But of course, if Ms. Williams would like to further comment on that, whether or not there are scholarships available to international students studying in a full-time course in Jamaica.
Only for the new graduate programs, because they can do it at any university, only for the graduate one.
Only for the graduate program. Right. Okay, understandable. And I believe, yes, the question before that was similar. All right, I see a question here from Jody O'Connor, who's asking if she's able to apply for the JAMVAT and the grant. So are applications open? You can just reiterate that for our viewers.
Applications were open from April 1 and we closed June 30th. They have to apply on the TSAP portal.
Awesome, awesome. And I see here now another question. Do you have to complete the 200 hours before the JAMVAT scholarship or during?
So you apply, you are approved, you do the 200 voluntary hours, and then we do a commitment to whichever university you would have applied to.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Williams, and to your team for providing these opportunities to our students. As you can see too, the age gap is pretty wide. So I believe I saw up to 40 years for one, up to 35 years for one. So encouraging everyone, even if you're at a stage where you're still not quite sure if you want to do it, or if you're not quite sure, you're hesitant about applying, my recommendation is apply, apply, apply. You never know. You may be the only one to apply and actually be the one to qualify for the opportunities once you've met the criteria. So thank you again, Ms. Williams and your team. I'll take this final one from Bethany before I go. It says anything for persons already with a bachelor's. So I believe Ms. Williams addressed that in terms of the graduate program, but Ms. Williams, you can state if there are any specific ones that are for persons who want to continue past bachelor's studies, so going on to postgraduate studies.
Okay, so the aim of the ministry is that each household must have at least one person who has a first degree. So our aim is to ensure that each household has someone who has a bachelor's degree. We have 2 postgraduate scholarships, but this year we'll be only offering the ones for special education, which Mrs. French Brown had alluded to earlier. So it would be the psychology, educational psychology, speech therapy, clinical psychology, and occupational therapy. For international scholarships or postgrad, they can visit the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much again. And thank you for your questions to all our persons tuned in. And remember that we're taking questions right throughout. So if there's any question that you have directed to our presenters, you will have the opportunity to ask. And Miss Renee Gabidon, yes, the recording will be available on the J-TEC YouTube channel. So we move to our next partner, the Chase Fund, and we have Latoya Akard Foster, the project manager, who is here to share a little bit about what the Chase Fund has to offer. So over to you, Latoya Akard Foster.
Good morning, Brittany, and fellow panelists, viewers, good morning. All right, so I will be sharing my screen, and so we can get right to it. All right. I am checking if I have the, I'm not seeing, do I have presenter credentials? Oh, here we go. All right. Okay. Are you seeing the screen?
Yes, we're seeing it.
All right, and it's the, because I have two screens on my desk, you're seeing the one that is in presentation mode, correct?
From my end, yes.
Okay, good. All right, so good day again, everyone. The presentation can be lengthy if I tell you all about Chase, so I'm gonna skip through that part, but just to say that Chase is an agency of the government of Jamaica. We were established in 2002, and we provide support to projects and programs that fall within certain specific areas. Now, CHASE is an acronym, and it stands for Culture, Health, Arts, Sports, and the E is actually Early Childhood Education, and that's important for the purpose of this presentation. So our scholarships are basically centered around these areas. Now, one thing to note is that the S in CHASE stands for sports, but we do not administer funding directly to sports-related projects and scholarships. Any sort of sports project is administered through the Sports Development Foundation. So the funding from CHASE goes directly to the Sports Development Foundation, and they do the sports-related projects, scholarships, etc. But for the remaining areas, culture, health, arts, and early childhood education, those are directly administered by CHASE. And there you'll see the split of our funding, how it's allocated. And that is also important for the purpose of this discussion. All right, now let me just scroll to our scholarships and grants. And let me also note before we go ahead that the scholarships and grants, the areas that we're supporting this academic year, those areas are not yet announced, but they will look very similar to what we would have supported in the last academic year, being 2024-2025, right? So now we're entering 25-26. Those areas are not yet announced, but they will be in a matter of weeks. However, it will not differ much from what we already have. So you'll see that list shortly. All right, so basic eligibility requirements for a CHASE Fund scholarship. You have to be a Jamaican citizen, whether through birth or naturalization. You have to be accepted at an accredited tertiary level institution. For first-time applicants, if you're going to be entering the program you're just entering, then you would need your acceptance letter. But if you are already enrolled in a program, what we would need would be a transcript that shows a GPA of 3.0 or above, or in some of our programs, we accept a B average. And of course, the program must fit within the mandate of CHASE Fund. So I'm going to get into that very shortly. All right, so we support undergraduate and graduate programs, and under early childhood education, we support bachelor's degrees in early childhood education. This is something that will not change. This has been a staple from day one. From time to time, we revise the priority programs. So we currently have special education, so bachelor's degree in special education as one of our priority programs that we will support. And thirdly, bachelor's degrees in literacy studies or education. So these are the 3 bachelor's degree programs we support under our early childhood education portfolio. Each year, we allocate at least just over $40 million towards scholarships in this area. So it's one of our priorities. And we have a good uptake in this. We don't have any problems. We actually have more applicants than we have spaces. All right. With respect to postgraduate degrees in early childhood education, we offer support for postgraduate degrees in special education, child behavior and development, and instructional design. So those are the areas that we support under our postgraduate degree program. Now, moving on to health, we do, and the first presenter, Tracy Ann Smith, I believe, would have spoken about some of the scholarships that Chase offers, and I know that she would have included the nursing specializations in her database. So we do provide support for a number of health-related training programs. Now, the goal of Chase is to ensure that health facilities, hospitals, health centers, they're adequately and properly staffed. So whilst we do not control the staffing of health centers, we believe that if we provide scholarships to health practitioners, it will enable them to seek employment in these facilities. And it will also provide the Ministry of Health with a wider pool of qualified personnel to be employed at these health facilities. So under nursing specializations, we provide scholarships for critical care nursing, neonatology, that is for the babies, nephrology, which speaks to kidney health, oncology, which is cancer care, and accident and emergency, which is self-explanatory. So these are the specializations that we have an interest in supporting fully. Now, we also provide support for persons who are already medical doctors and they want to do further studies. So we provide support for postgraduate degrees in radiation oncology. So Chase has a cancer care program, and a lot of our focus is on cancer care, equipping hospitals with equipment for cancer treatment or screening. And we also have a great interest in training health practitioners toward being able to administer cancer care. We also have other specializations that we provide scholarships for. So these are fellowships, and they are in the areas of nuclear radiology, nephrology, pediatric nephrology, pediatric pulmonology, and pediatric cardiology. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of uptake for these areas of specialization, but each year we get maybe 1 or 2 or 3 persons who apply, and they're usually successful once they have all their documentation in place. And these fellowships are usually overseas. So we have persons who would have been doing their fellowship in Canada, South Africa, United Kingdom, Cuba, and various countries. And we provide support for those programs. Now, under our arts and culture scholarship program, we provide undergraduate and postgraduate degree support for areas such as performing arts. So arts and culture is wide. And so when you say performing arts, there can be many different specializations that fit under the category of performing arts. So we're talking about, it could be dance, it could be music, could be vocal training, etc. So degree programs in performing arts, art education and management, visual arts, film production, museum and archival studies, and also cultural and heritage studies. And those are the areas that we provide scholarships for. But just to note, J-TEC scholarships are awarded for final year. So for most of our programs or priority programs, you are covered for the entire duration of your study. So, but there are some exceptions. So if you're pursuing bachelor's degrees in early childhood education or one of the other specializations like special education, etc., then you can get a scholarship for each year that you're enrolled in that program. For the early childhood education scholarship, we provide $240,000 per year. The tuition ranges from maybe 300 to 300 and something thousand. So it's not a full scholarship, but it covers the majority of the cost. And so 250,000 per year for the 4 years. Once you maintain a B average, your scholarship is pretty much guaranteed to continue. For the health specializations I mentioned, like the critical care nursing and the radiation oncology, you're covered for the full length of time you're enrolled in that program. And the exceptions though are that for some of the arts and culture programs, depending on the cost of the program, you may be covered for only the final year. But if you're enrolled in a local program, say you're at Edna Manley or you're at MICO or UWI or any other local institution, then you're covered for the full length of that program. And so if you have queries, if you're not sure where you'd fit, you can always call us and we can, explain further the policy. As indicated, J-TEC will fund up to 100% of the tuition of the academic year that the scholarship has been awarded for. So it's not guaranteed that you'll get 100%, but depending on the situation, for example, if you're coming to us and you're in the final year and you only need help for that 1 year, you can get up to 100% of what is owed for or what is due for that year. If you're in another program and we're covering you for the full 4 years, you may get a portion of the tuition for each year. As I said, for like the early childhood, that is capped at $240,000 for the year. And J-TEC will support tuition only. However, in special circumstances, other costs such as books and housing may be covered. Now, let me give you an example. For the persons who are pursuing their fellowships, in say the medical doctors who are pursuing fellowships, in that case, they're positioned in a hospital and they're actually working. So it's not much of a classroom setting. That's how you gain your fellowship. Now, in a case like that where tuition is not applicable, we would cover, for example, your housing costs while you're in that country. So say you lease an apartment or you rent an apartment, we will actually cover the cost or cover a portion of the cost of your accommodation while you pursue the fellowship, which does not require tuition. But if it's a case where you're overseas and we're covering tuition, then you would be asked to cover the other aspects, such as your housing, etc. Overseas studies will only be supported where a comparable program is not offered locally. So it's important to note that if you are trying to do a degree overseas, but that degree or very similar degrees offered locally, then we would not support the overseas option. And as was said before, persons receiving a scholarship of $300,000 or more will be required to complete a bonding process with the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. For those who may have listened to Minister Favour Williams's budget presentation this year, there was an announcement that there is some revision or there will be some revision to the bonding threshold. That is not yet in stone. So until then, if you're receiving a scholarship or grant from J-TEC of $300,000 or more, then you'll be required to complete a bonding process with the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. And when and how to apply, let me just quickly go over this. So we are now about to open the scholarship process for this year, where it's usually open by the end of May. and we would keep it open until the last day in June. And so you will be asked to just monitor our website for that, as well as we put an ad out in local newspapers, and it gives you instructions on how to apply. Generally, you will need 2 passport size photographs, an acceptance letter if you're a first year, 2 sealed recommendations, a transcript where applicable. So if you're not first year, you're already in the program, you would have a transcript. So transcript where applicable, statements of account or an invoice from the school to say what the tuition is, and a personal statement, which is pretty much just an essay stating the reason for applying for the scholarship and why you think you're the best candidate for the scholarship. We do have, for some of the programs, more applications than we have funding. So it's good if you really put it out there in your essay why we should select you for the scholarship. And I believe this may be the last slide. Applications are evaluated by Chase based on the applicant's level of compliance with the eligibility requirements. The evaluation and approval process is normally completed by the end of July each year. So we'll open the process end of May, close it end of June. That's when all applications are to come in by. And then during the month of July, we make our evaluation and we do our selection. And then in August, applicants are notified of the outcome of their application. So I didn't have a lot of time. And so there may be a lot of questions, but I am open to emails and phone calls, and you can call the office to ask to get additional information as needed. So that's the end. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Foster, for that comprehensive presentation. I am excited about what Chase Fund has to offer. Again, Chase stands for Culture, Health, Arts, Sports, and Early Childhood Education. And as you can see from that presentation, there are a number of opportunities. I see, there's a request about medical degree. I know you spoke about the nursing offerings or offerings specific to the nursing career, but I see the questions, so let's jump to them really quickly. So there's one here: as an undergraduate student, are there scholarships for medical degrees as a full-time international student in Jamaica? So I know you mentioned the nursing program, but do you offer anything outside of that?
All right, so from time to time, so what I would have shown would be our priority programs. Those are the ones that we invite scholarship applications for. Medical degree, we have supported medical degree students. And so these are persons at UA studying, doing MBBS. And whilst it is not one of our priority programs, we have provided support, but it's limited to final year only. So you have to have your GPA of 3.0 or above, and you have to be in the final year. We have had persons applying from so I've been at Chase 6 years. We've had persons applying from year 1. We turn them away. I say, come back in year 5, and they apply in year 2 and year 3 and year 4. This year we have someone who has finally reached year 5. So we're like, finally, we can now evaluate you and present you for consideration. So if you're an MBBS student and you are in year 5 and you have a great GPA, you can apply. MBBS programs are so expensive that we can't carry a lot. We may be able to do 2 or 3 for the year. So it's not something that we advertise because we cannot meet demand for it. So we have our cancer care program, and we have nephrology as a priority. So we try to advertise for those because we need those specializations. We don't have enough. So yeah, if you're a medical student, all is not lost. You can apply, but you have to be in the final year.
All right, thank you so much. Our next question: is there any support for those pursuing tertiary education overseas?
Once the program is not offered locally, you can be considered. So we don't exclude overseas study. It's just that we're not going to support a program overseas if it's offered locally. And I saw a question about if it's just MBBS or medical sciences.
Yes.
All right, so the best way I can put this is, so we don't have a list that we say this is the list and this is not the list. What you'd have seen from the presentation is our priority, but it doesn't mean that there are not other programs we won't support. Now, what you can use to think or to kind of gauge if you're eligible or not is the degree you're doing, is it going to enable you to gain employment in a healthcare facility? Because when you go back to the mandate of Chase, which I skipped over because we didn't have enough time, one of our mandate areas for training is to train health practitioners for health facilities. And so if your degree is going to lead you to a job in a health facility, whether it's a lab or a hospital or a health center, chances are it's something that we could look at and possibly support. But it's on a case-by-case basis, and it has to be properly justified that there is a need for it. So best thing to do is just to drop us a line or call us and say, this is what I'm studying. Is this something that would be considered? And we can speak with you from there.
All right, thank you. And I see Joseph Lee in the chat also asking, he says he's a final year student doing his Bachelor of Science in ICT and his GPA is over 3.0. So can he apply?
Unfortunately, ICT is not included. So culture, health, arts, early childhood education. So we can't do law. So when it comes to health sciences, that's where we can talk, right? So if you're not doing an MBBS, but you're doing something else in health, let's talk. But if you're doing law or engineering or IT or math, unfortunately, that's outside of the mandate. So we can't talk where those programs are concerned. They're totally out. But there are other programs that we can look at once they're within the general health, arts, culture, early childhood education.
Thank you. And I see Ms. Tracy Ann Smith from J-TEC saying that there are opportunities available on the J-TEC database. So you're not out of luck. Joseph, please, you can go ahead and apply via the J-TEC platform. And again, it's a huge platform. It has a lot of offerings for you to explore. And the same goes for those concerned about the medical program as well. You can explore opportunities in that area. I see someone saying, how about drama in education? Does Chase support that? Yes? Okay, good. Yes, so Jadir, definitely. Please apply. Please apply, and you will probably have an opportunity there available for you. So go ahead and do that. And I
saw a question about AAIMS or
right, yes.
Yes, all right. So I don't remember off the top of my head, but we did have an applicant who I'm going in my first year at Edna. Yes, that's fine. We did have a medical student who was not enrolled at UWI. They were enrolled at another local medical school. And when I don't remember the name of it, but when I did some checks, I discovered that they were not accredited with a particular body. And so unfortunately, we were not able to provide the scholarship for that student. So we don't have a rule that says it has to be a UWI student. It's just a UWI student for the medical degree, but the institution has to be accredited. So we would have to check if your institution is accredited. And if it is accredited, then it shouldn't be a problem to proceed through the evaluation process.
All right. Thank you so much. And thanks again for joining to present what Chase Fund has to offer. And again, thanks for creating the opportunities for students. I see one more jumping in here from Kristen Taylor.
I'm going to put myself on a limb. I'm going to give you my CUG and you WhatsApp me your queries.
Yes.
Ready? 876-553-9213. 876-553-9213. Just send me a query, say you're on the MOE scholarship platform and you have this query and I'll address it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yes, please take advantage of that. It's very rare that we get direct access to the persons responsible for these opportunities. So thank you so much for making yourself available. And again, continue to do your research, students on the platform. Tune in. We still have a few more persons to present, but thank you so much. That was the presentation from the Chase Fund. And again, if you missed that part of the presentation, the overall event will be uploaded to YouTube YouTube so you can go through and get the details and information that you need. All right, thank you so much again. And I figure your phone will be blowing up with queries in, in a little bit. But
Not a
thank you.
problem. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, so we move now to our presentation from the University of Technology, Jamaica, and we have Ms. Pauline Maduri, our scholarship officer, who will make a special presentation about what J-TEC has to offer. So over to you, Ms. Maduri. She here with us? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jamaica. So from the University of Technology, Jamaica, we have several scholarships available, scholarships and bursaries available. However, of course, it is very competitive for each student when they apply, because we not only look at their academics, we also look at other involvement in co-curricular activities and their financial need. So this morning, I'm going to take you through quickly about some of the best, please do not hold me on, some of the best sponsors, finding scholarships, the scholarship listing, government assistance, application process, the interview, and tips how to write a good essay. So of course, as I mentioned, we have over 100 scholarships to the Jamaican students only, and students must be enrolled in a program at J-TEC here at one of our campuses. So applications open in May, which will be on Monday of next week, and we close the 31st of July. Okay, some of the scholarships that you can look for as a first-year student, we have the Chinese ambassador, the continental baking. Let me start over. The Chinese ambassador is mostly related to the STEM area out of the Chinese embassy. You have the Continental Baking Company, which is for first-year engineering student. The Jamaica Energy Partners is also under STEM. Lawrenceboro Trust, it is for any first-year student. New Fortress Energy, first-year engineering, or should I say any year in the engineering program. M&M is open to persons from Old Harbour, Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Elizabeth, and also students who are from States and from St. Anne. So they have one scholarship each for each area. And of course, we have the Sagicor Foundation, which is currently open. National Housing Trust is for the faculty of the built environment, and they give up to $1 million per year. You have the VM Foundation, J-TEC as well for PHOBE students only, and the pensioners bursary under VM for any final year student. So I must stress our STEM scholarship, which is offered to first-year student from the Faculty of Computing and Engineering, and also students who are doing construction management and construction engineering. And you must be a first-year student between the age of 17 to 25. And this scholarship covers your full tuition, boarding, if you're boarding on campus. And of course, you'll be bonded for 5-year period under the Ministry of Finance. And also this scholarship gives 200 students per academic year. And Grace Kennedy, which is currently open and closes June 30, they have several scholarships out as well. They have the Grace Kennedy J-TEC Open, the Carlton Alexander, the Bruce Rickards, the Douglas O'Rain, and Don Webby, which is new. And they have the final year And these scholarships, of course, is open to both UTEC and UWE, so I will not be biased. So you have the KC pass students only. You have the final year to both institutions, the JC pass students only, which is the Carlton Alexander, and you have the STEM, which is also UWE UTEC, and the final year STEM. So I'm just highlighting these. And the St. George's College, which is new, and you must be involved in sports coming in. That is the Dunwebby Scholarship. And I mentioned, of course, Sagicor, which is now open and closes this month end. So students need to go on Sagicor Foundation website urgently to capitalize on this scholarship now. So under the government of Jamaica, we have several assistants. I realize that we have two here, so I will not talk about theirs. So I will speak to the Ministry of Health, Ministry of National Security, which has the Police Federation and PATH. So under the Ministry of Health, which is the Barry Wynn Scholarship, this is open to the health sector, anybody in health related field. They give up to $1 million per academic year. And of course, you will be bonded to the government of Jamaica. The Police Federation gives scholarship to employees' children up to the rank of inspector. They give 200,000 per academic year. Beyond the rank of inspector, they give scholarship, but that amount varies. On the path, which we will have a hooray for, you must have had a burst allocation in at least one junior high school. In the past, they used to give 100,000. For the academic year coming, they will be increasing it to $150,000 for each academic year. And continuation of that one, you must have at least a 2.5 GPA for the continuation for 4 years in the case of UTEC. So scholarships will be opening on Monday of next week, and the form and application will be on the university's website. It is a fillable form that you will fill out and submit it back to us. You can fill it out anywhere around the world once you are coming to UTEC, and email it back to us. And the listing will be there too for your guide. You can apply for all the scholarships that are applicable to you. I will always say, do not lose out on an opportunity. You'll never know. So be warned. So on our scholarship application, the most thing that you have to stop to think about, because the others will be personal information, are the 3 essays that you will have to write. And the first one is how the scholarship will benefit you. The second one, the career goals and your contribution to Jamaica upon completion of your degree. And the third one is one challenge affecting the youth in your community. So please note that some scholarships you will be interviewed for, some the donors will make their recommendation from the application that they receive. So I will ask of you to make your application represent you very well. Your language should be very clear. And of course, I will say keep out of the patois, unless it's for emphasis, as best as possible. And do your best and put your best foot forward. And of course, I will encourage you to have someone review your application for you, because you want it to represent you very well. And you don't want to hear that you went to file 30, because incomplete applications will not be processed. So ladies and gentlemen, please, I want to say welcome to UTEC, and applications for UTEC is still open. So if you are not doing your CXE CAPE and you have not yet applied, I'll ask you please to go and apply now. Applications are online and it is free of cost. So go ahead now and do your best. All the best. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Ms. Maduri, coming in from J-TEC Jamaica, our scholarship officer. And I see the questions rolling in, but just to reiterate what J-TEC has to offer, they've noted that there are over 100 scholarships available to Jamaican students, and the deadline, or rather the application period, will be from May 19, which is next Monday, right through to July 31 for most of the J-TEC specific ones. And of course, we're seeing the trend here with engineering, STEM related subjects. Of course, there are some specific to first year versus final year students. Some, if you're from respective parishes, we also have some school related ones. The JC, KC, Georgia students will have an opportunity to benefit. She also highlighted the GK Scholarship, Sagicor Foundation, as well as the Ministry of Health and Wellness Barry Wynn Scholarship, which provides up to $1 million, the Police Federation Scholarship, as well as the PATH program initiative. So for sure, there are many opportunities available. And again, as Ms. Maduri says, do not miss the opportunity. So just apply. You'll never know. You may be the one that is selected, but if you don't apply, you will not get selected. So I see the questions coming in. I see Shamar Williams asking about the emails to send the application. So as Ms. Maduri mentioned, the applications can be done online via the J-TEC website, and there is a fillable form for you to access. So you'll be able to upload the information there. And remember that you'll have a series of essays to produce, 3 essays to be specific, speaking about the benefit of the scholarship, the goals, as well as the challenge affecting any challenge affecting youth in your community. So again, lots of opportunities happening there as it relates to J-TEC. There are more questions coming in. So I see David querying scholarships or grants available to students studying in the US. Ms. Maduri, you can keep me honest here, but I know that J-TEC, the scholarships are available to Jamaican students studying at J-TEC. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct, right. So this one wouldn't necessarily apply, but again, you can explore the J-TEC options, which on that scholarship platform, there are options there available for you to choose courses that will allow you to study internationally as a Jamaican, but of course, there may be some additional criteria. All right, so we go to Kristen Taylor. Are there any scholarships for those who want to go to NCU? So I believe those are available on the J-TEC platform, so you can definitely explore the J-TEC platform. Remember, you can search using keywords, and you can search using like the title of the scholarship itself if you're aware of it. So J-TEC is a massive database which probably has all these and more for you to explore. There's a question here coming from YouTube. It says, is there any scholarship for special education? So Ms. Maduri, do you have the response to that one? And she's also asking if she can apply for the PATH bursary at J-TEC instead of going to the PATH office.
Once she is a J-TEC student, she can apply here at J-TEC.
At J-TEC.
Special education, we do not offer special education here at J-TEC.
At J-TEC. Okay, thank you so much. And I see Adriano querying, are there any scholarships for bed electrical technology? And he has over 3.0 GPA and attends BTDI. So it seems like he's ready to jump and join the J-TEC family. But I know there were some. Yeah, so if you're able to answer that one.
Sure. Once he comes over to J-TEC, that's a Bachelor of Education in what you wish to pursue. Okay. But Heart itself also give us scholarships. So he could apply for one of those coming over. Okay. Yes.
Awesome. Nice. That sounds great. So Adriano, I hope that helped. And the final question here coming in from Jared, is there an age limit for J-TEC scholarships?
Okay. It varies from scholarship to scholarship, but most want the youth. So between the age group of 17 to 25, but we have others that are not age limited.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. All right, thank you so much, Ms. Maduri, for sharing what J-TEC has to offer to our students, anyone seeking to pursue higher education and seeking financing options. So again, it's a wide range of scholarship opportunities available at J-TEC for everyone who is looking forward to walking through J-TEC's gates September morning. Again, over 100 opportunities, and most of the scholarships have a deadline of between this month end right through to July 31. And applications for J-TEC are also still open, so you can apply for J-TEC, apply for some scholarships, and I know they look forward to welcoming you in the new school year. All right, thank you so much for joining us again. Kristen, I see your question. Will any scholarship cover boarding at J-TEC? I know that also varies. Miss Maduri, would you just like to touch on that just before we?
So it varies. When I mentioned STEM, I said boarding and tuition, but the boarding must be on campus.
On campus, right.
You have some scholarship though, because some students are taking student loan bureau. They will get a scholarship and then they will use it for boarding.
Okay, great. All right, thank you so much. All right, so that covers all our questions for that segment. All right, thank you so much again for joining us. And we jump right over to our next presenter from the Office of Student Financing at the UWI Mona, Ms. Carisha Lamont. She's the head of student financing, and she's going to share what the UWI has to offer. Over to you.
Hi, thank you so much, Brittany. Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be here at the J-TEC Scholarship and Funding webinar just to share with you how you can fund your future here at UWI. And so I am going to just start my slide presentation. Go to slideshow. Awesome. So you'll be seeing it fully. All right. So funding your future at UWI. So you've applied, now what? And we're going to really take you on a little peek of funding your education here at UWI. And so there are a number of things that we want you to consider when you apply and then you're ready to come to UWI. We want you to consider your tuition as a major aspect of your funding, as well as if you're a commuting student who's traveling to campus every day, your transportation. Also, if you're on campus, your accommodation, everyone, and you have to eat, so your meals, your books, and any miscellaneous activity, any miscellaneous funding that needs to be taken care of. So you really need to take these things into consideration as you prepare to apply for scholarships, because you're going to be asked what it is that you're applying for. What more, when you're doing your budgets and so forth, you have to detail these things and how much it will cost for the entire year while you're here, academic year. When you're doing your budget, you need to take into consideration that the academic year is 9 months. And so you have to budget accordingly for that period. Now here in the Office of Student Financing, we have a number of types of financial aid. So we have our scholarships, we have bursaries, we have general financial assistance, and we also provide financial guidance to you as students coming in, right? We'll delve a little bit more into that. So available assistance, scholarships and bursaries. And so our application period is normally from May to June 31st. But for this academic year, because we're going online, we're fully online this year, our application portal will open within the next week or two. We will definitely send out a notice to everyone. All our platforms will have it when our application portal for the 2025-2026 academic year will open. And so because we're opening later in May than we usually do, we will extend to July, and you will get the deadline as soon as it is available. All right, general financial assistance, right? So separate and apart from scholarships and bursaries, which we will talk about later, we also offer general financial assistance. And this is through either meal grants or grocery vouchers, cash grants, or book grants, right? And so the application period for these assistance and small assistance is really September to November, for semester 1, and January to April. And that is separate and apart from your scholarship application. So even students who apply for scholarships still can apply for general financial assistance if the scholarship does not cover everything that you need, right? Now, we're going to look at how to apply for a scholarship bursary grant. And so previously, you would have filled out an application form and drop it off at our office at the Kingston location or at the location in Montego Bay. But this year, we are going fully online, no paper applications. So you will go onto the Office of Student Financing website, after which you will click on our online application portal. You will complete all the necessary sections. And if you don't complete those sections that are required, you won't be able to submit. So make sure you have everything. Additionally, you will need to have the only paper that you will need to print is your referee affidavit, a reference form. And you have your reference, complete that, and then you upload it to our application portal, right? So now I have kind of just segmented for you. If you're a first-year student, at the bottom of the screen, you will see a scholarship handbook there for first-year students coming in. And those are most of the scholarships available to first year. So I'm asking you to just scan that booklet. You can also apply for the general other scholarships that are there, but these scholarships are specifically for first year. We made sure to pull them for you so you know exactly what to apply for that relates to you. That does not preclude you from applying for other scholarships that are not within your year group or that are not specific to a year group, right? We have also just put our QR code here for our website. And on our website, we have scholarships detailed according to your faculty, right? So when you go onto our website, you go to our scholarship listing and you go to the faculty that you're a part of. When you go to the faculty, you will see the listing of all the scholarships that are there. Every scholarship that you click on will give you the criteria and what the scholarship offers, right? As the criteria, the eligibility, the amount that you will be given, and the period. So if it's 1 year, the tenure, or 3 years, and so forth. And all the necessary documents that you need to upload for that scholarship. So if you need an extra reference, a separate and apart from our references, if you need to write an essay about that particular scholarship, and so forth, right? So now I just want to talk to you a little bit about the scholarship period. And this is primarily because we have, say, over 300-400 scholarships offered every year through UWI. We have about 8 faculties. So every faculty has a scholarship or institute has a scholarship. And so there are different criteria as it relates to the different scholarships, and there are different needs, right? So for example, you need to know the different types of scholarships that are available to you. If it's a needs-based scholarship, if it's a merit-based scholarship, or if it is one that is a combination of both, right? So if it's needs-based, they don't necessarily have a high GPA rating, probably a continuing GPA of about 2.5, and you have to state your need. So it normally asks you to give, for example, a detailed essay about why you should get the scholarship. If it's a merit-based scholarship, you know that you're a high achiever. So you would need to really be in the 3.0 or 3.3, 3.5 and above GPA, and the criteria of the scholarship will tell you that, right? If it's a combination of both, you will need to also be heavily involved in co-curricular activities, have a high academic standing, as well as show some level of need for some. Now I go to faculty, year, gender, disability, volunteer-based scholarships, and so forth. Because when you look at scholarships, some of them are only faculty-based. So if you're in engineering and you get an engineering scholarship, you decide to switch faculty to faculty of, say, science and technology, more likely, if it's a faculty-based scholarship, you won't be able to take that scholarship with you. So you need to read and see exactly what your scholarship is about. If it's a year group scholarship, you get you look at that. If it's for second year, you apply for it. If you're a second year student, if it's a third year student, etc. Some scholarships are gender-based. So you will see scholarships that say for males, for females, and so forth. You also have scholarship based on your parish, where you're from, or your school, your alma mater, high school. We have scholarships that are for students with disabilities, and specifically for those students. We have scholarships that are mostly community and voluntary based as well. So when you're looking through the scholarship listings, ensure to zone into these details and apply for all of the ones that are applicable to you. Where can you find scholarships? So apart from the J-TEC database and your different institutions, you also can look on the websites at different financial organizations, NCB, Sagicor, Grace Kennedy, all those. The embassies as well has scholarships. So Ms. Maduri would have spoken about the Chinese Ambassador Scholarship, right? Some employers, so your parents might be employed to an institution or an organization that offers scholarships, government agencies, and you heard about some of those. Your MPs and parish councils have different grants and so forth, and private charities, Chase Fund and so forth, you can always apply to those. Now, application tips that I want to just quickly go through. Who makes a good reference for you? Someone who knows you, someone who can speak about you. Why does your co-curricular involvement matters? Because it shows your well-roundedness. So you need to put those things on your application. How to approach writing your scholarship essay. Your scholarship essay should be a representation of yourself, right? You want to make sure that you put your story out there to a donor. So when they pick up your application and read your essay, you can be shortlisted for an interview or be selected as one of the persons if there's no interview. What are some common mistakes and how to avoid them? Have someone to reread your applications before you submit it. Donors put things in file 13 when you have a lot of mistakes on them. I won't get into now that you have gotten the scholarship, but I mean, just prepare to get the scholarship. When you're applying for a scholarship, make sure you say, I am going to get this scholarship. So prepare for it. So you know you're going to have to prepare like a bio of yourself. You need to have a nice headshot and so forth. So I just want you to think about these things as you enter the scholarship period and as you go through applying for scholarships. Now, the Office of Student Financing is located on the first floor of the administrative annex. Once you know where the billings office is, which is SAS for persons who are at URR, or if you're coming to UWI, you can just ask somebody, where's the SAS building? And we're on the first floor of that building. Our website is also there, but you would have scanned our QR code before, so you have access to our website. We also put our cell phone numbers here, and you can just take a screenshot of this and look through it. But before I move on to just my final slide, I want to just reiterate that the PATH bursary is also here at UWI. You can apply for PATH. Once you go onto our website, you see a link to download the PATH application form, and you can just submit it to the office when you come in September or in August, right? So once you complete the form, you take it into the Office of Student Financing on the UWI campus, and we will help with the processing of that. And so I'd just like to leave this little tip with all my scholarship applicants that success is achieved and maintained by those who try and keep trying, right? So not because you didn't get one scholarship, you're not going to persist and apply for others. Apply for as many scholarships as you can or that you are eligible for, so that you can get one to help you to achieve your your academic goals. Just want to say thank you. And once you've applied to UE and you'll be coming to us, we're looking forward to engaging with you, and let us know how we can definitely support you on your next step.
Right. Thank you so much, Ms. Lamont, Head of Student Financing at the UE Mona. Again, a lot of opportunities available there for students who are seeking to join UE in the upcoming school year. Did you say the applications are still open as well, Ms. Lamont?
They are not open yet. We should be opening
Okay.
next week. Our portal should be up and running next week.
Okay.
And we will definitely send it out, and we'll share it with different stakeholders when it is open.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Ms. Larmond. And for sure, I know, well, if persons have any questions they may ask at this time, but the presentation was comprehensive in highlighting what's necessary. And I think what's most important as well is the emphasis on well-roundedness. So it's not just about the academics for this one or for these scholarships, but it's great to showcase that you have leadership skills, you're involved in extracurricular. They like to see balance. So if you are involved in your school, in your community, if you're just somebody who is good at balancing the academics with the extracurricular, then you are a strong candidate. But not to discourage anyone to apply, and it's not too late to get involved as well. So now is a good time. We have the summer coming up. Join a club, be a part of some volunteer activity. We have Labor Day next week. Child's Month is still a thing. So find ways to be involved so that you can include those components on your application. So Ms. Larmond, I'm not seeing any questions. It seems like you answered most of the questions that persons may have had, but could you just share the link as well, the link for the scholarship portal, so that when persons can access? Yes.
No problem. I will. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and thank you so much again for joining us. If you're just coming in, this is the J-TEC Scholarship and Financing webinar, and we are touching on various areas that persons can apply to get financing for their higher education. So we have scholarship opportunities, grants, and just a wealth of different ways in which people can benefit and just to support. So it's really just about showing that access is possible. There are opportunities available, and we're encouraging you to apply and take advantage of these opportunities, because believe it or not, sometimes years pass and students don't apply, and the money is just sitting there waiting to fund a student who wants to better themselves for education. All right, so we move to our next presenter, penultimate presenter, Ms. Colette McCausland, Director of Scholarships in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. So she'll be sharing some information about what the ministry has to offer via their scholarship unit. So over to you, Ms. McCausland.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So this is not Colette, but this is Delariana.
Okay, hi, Delariana, welcome.
Hi, good morning. Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen shortly. Okay, you guys are seeing my PowerPoint?
Yes, I am seeing it.
Oops, hold on. Still seeing my screen?
Yes, I'm seeing it here.
Okay. All right, so my name is Delariana Thomas, and I'm the Senior Talent Management Officer with responsibility for scholarship and assistance at the Strategic Workforce Planning and Improvement Branch at the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. So today I will be highlighting the roles and functions of the branch, as well as give an overview of our scholarships portfolio. So we are responsible for informing the public of training opportunities via published media, online, and or social media platforms. We also act as a signatory on application forms before submission to our different missions, consulates via the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. The scholarship opportunities can be accessed via our website at www.mof.gov.jm/scholarships. So we administer and provide oversights on the following activities, such as bilateral scholarships, multilateral scholarships, local scholarships, union assistance, grants and scholarships, bonding and compliance function for Jamaica. I know you guys have been hearing a lot about bonding. I will explain, as well as workforce planning. So our donor-funded programs are open to all Jamaicans in areas such as at levels such as bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees, as well as short-term skills development or institutional strengthening programs. So for our bilateral scholarships, we have the Chinese government scholarships. These are generally advertised during September to mid-October of each year at levels such as bachelor's, master's, PhD in areas such as sustainable agriculture, water technology, education, engineering, environment, and climate change, as well as medicine. I know I mentioned that we have an advertisement period, but sometimes there are occurrences within that country at a certain period. So sometimes the scholarship opportunities might be late. So we always encourage persons to visit our website to see what is available. We also have the Cuba-Jamaica Bilateral Scholarship, which is generally advertised around September to the second week of October of each year. But the one for 2024, we actually received that one in January. So our application for last year ran from January to March of this year. So finalization for that award is just taking place now in May, right? Students will travel in August of this year. So we received 17 scholarships, 15 for the undergraduate level and 2 for master's level in areas such as general medicine, health technologies, programs associated with higher education for Cuba. That one specifically is a more general area. So you have areas such as tourism, economics, accounting, a whole plethora of areas. We also have short-term courses that runs from 2 to 3 years in health technology studies. It is also important to note that these scholarship opportunities are generally for students who are just entering university. So for the master's program, the student must have attained a bachelor's in Cuba to benefit from this, as however, due to geopolitical situation at this time, these have been temporarily discontinued. We also have Romanian scholarship. The application period is generally from January to March of each year at levels the undergraduate, master's, and PhD. The candidate must complete upper sixth form with good grades, as well as in areas such as STEM, except medicine, business, finance and accounting, and ICT. The scholarship covers tuition fee, accommodation, and monthly stipend. It is also important to note that in countries who do not speak English, the first year is usually the preparatory year in which students will learn the language. So for our multilateral scholarships, we have the Organization of American States. This scholarship is a partially funded scholarship, and it covers tuition and mandatory fee, health insurance, monthly complimentary subsistence allowance, round-trip airfare, and it's for areas such as the undergraduate and the master's level. It is important to note that for the undergraduate level, the student must be entering their third year. So they must complete 2 years of the undergraduate program. And I mentioned it was partially funded, so it's up to 10,000 USD in areas, well, it's for any area except medicine. Also, the OAS have about 35 different member states, and that student must be studying in a OAS member state other than the country in which they reside. We also have the Association of Commonwealth Universities, in which we have the UK Commonwealth Scholarship, which is for the master's and PhD level, tenable in the United Kingdom. The application period is generally September, with a deadline in October. We also have the New Zealand Scholarship that is generally advertised February to March of each year. And the areas covered are science and technology development, health systems, promoting global prosperity, global peace, security, and governance. So for our local scholarships, we partner with different local entities. So we have the Micro University STEM Scholarship and the J-TEC STEM Scholarship. So for the Micro STEM Scholarship, these are geared to individuals who wish to become a STEM teacher. So over a 5-year period, there'll be 250 scholarships available per year, applicable to new students, and the current value is 500,000. For the J-TEC STEM Scholarship, it's geared towards STEM professional with 200 scholarships available per year over the same 5-year period, applicable to new students only, full tuition scholarships, and the tuition varies per program. It is important to note that you must maintain a GPA of 3.0. Of course, you would have heard from our other entities which we partner with. We also have the National Health Fund that fund most disciplines in the medical field, and you can access these scholarships on their website. Okay, so union and grant assistance. So you have different unionized positions within the public service, such as the Nurses Association of Jamaica, and the Jamaica Police Federation, as well as the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Union. They sign agreement which provides financial assistance for their members and their students to study for tertiary studies only. They also engage in professional development activities for their members. We also have the Scholarship for Public Officers grant and the Children of Public Sector Worker grant that is handled by the Ministry of Finance. So if you have a parent or your parents are employed within the public service, you can ask them to find out from their different unions if they're
Okay, I'm not hearing Miss Thomas. Is it only me? Seems there is some connectivity issue taking place. So we will give it a minute or two. All right, so it seems like she's been disconnected. But if you are just joining us, you should be hearing the details of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service Scholarship Unit.
You guys are hearing me?
We're hearing you now.
Hearing you.
Yes, you see me, we're disconnected, Ms. Thomas.
Oh,
Okay, that's fine, Miss Thomas. You may
having a
go
little
ahead and
internet
present.
issues.
All right.
Okay. Okay, so I was explaining bonding. So bonding refers to a written agreement between the government of Jamaica and any recipient of an award or training opportunity that amounts to 300,000 or more. That individual is required to sign that bond before taking on that opportunity. So the signing process is completed when the awardees and their guarantors have signed that agreement with no documents outstanding. So it requires an awardee to provide service by remaining in the employs of the GOJ or Jamaica for a stipulated number of years, generally from 2 to 5 years, depending on the amount of the award. So they can serve their period upon completion of study or by resumption of duties or based on the date of employment for students. Okay, so this chart shows the range of the amount of monies, the numbers of guarantors required, and the number of bonding years. So it ranges from 2 to 5 years, from 300,000, anything over 2 million. All right, so you have seen a lot of scholarship opportunities and you might be wondering, how do I access these opportunities? So first thing we always tell our applicants to do their research. Ensure that you are researching the country in which you desire to study. Ensure that you know what is happening in that country so you can adequately prepare yourself. You don't want to be surprised by getting there and not understanding what is expected of you or what their cultural norms is. You have to do your research to know what is happening. Another thing is to submit all your required documents. These scholarships are very competitive and we receive a lot of applications each year. You have to submit all your your stipend might be late for any reason. So for the countries in which English is not the primary language, you are expected to spend the first year learning the language. And at that time, you will social media platforms via our website or via email at scholarships@mof.gov.jm. Also, you have our telephone numbers here in which you can call us to find out when scholarship will be available. So that concludes my presentation for today. You guys are hearing me?
Yes, Ms. Thomas, we were not seeing your screen, so if you could probably specially project the information on contact information.
All right, hold on.
Right.
Sorry about that, guys. Having some technical difficulties at this time.
Oh, I think we're seeing student loans PowerPoints.
Okay, I saw the student loan PowerPoint as well. Ms. Thomas.
All right, she's sharing it now.
Oh, she's sharing it now. Okay, good.
Brittany, I'm not sure if you're trying to unmute. I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, sorry. I was looking at the information here. Okay, no problem. All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Thomas, coming out of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, highlighting the opportunities available there. And again, scholarships for the STEM studies. So I'm not sure if anyone in the chat is considering, the jobs of the future, but STEM seems to be the direction to go for scholarship opportunities. There are also bilateral scholarships, opportunities to study abroad, and of course, the partnership opportunities with the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, Chase Fund, and the National Health Fund, and of course, the union and grant assistance. And she gave us some insight on the bonding period, which will be anywhere between 2 to 5 years, depending on the terms of the scholarship that you receive. All right. Sorry, my camera was off. All right, so I am seeing questions here. It says, which bilateral scholarship was discontinued as a result of geopolitics? I believe that's where you were disconnected. I'm not sure if you're able to respond to the question right now. Yes.
Right, so that's the Russian scholarship and Serbian scholarship.
And Serbia. Okay. Oh, I see Miss Smith actually responded. Thank you. I see another one here. If you already applied for a university in the country, can you still receive the scholarship?
Generally, no, but I did
Okay.
mention for the OAS scholarship, you must be studying in an OAS partnering country other than your country of residence. So if you're in the United States and let's say you have to be entering third year, so you must complete the first 2 years of your undergraduate studies to benefit from the OAS undergraduate scholarship.
Okay, good.
For the
Thank you for-
master's scholarship, it is for first year students.
For first year students. Okay, thank you so much. And I see another query from Carrie Ann Henry, which says, can you speak about the portal on the MOF website and how can we use it to apply for scholarships?
No, unfortunately, the portal is not working. However, each scholarship comes with an advertisement at the time of the application period. So you will get instructions on how to apply for that scholarship when the advertisement is published.
Okay, great. All right, thank you so much, Ms. Thomas, and thanks to everyone who asked their questions. And of course, the information was shared at the end regarding how you can reach out to the ministry at the scholarship unit to find out more information about these opportunities. But thank you again on behalf of the J-TEC team for joining us today and for sharing what's in store for students as it relates to scholarship and financing. All right, and it's now time for our final presenter for the day, and we have Mrs. Crystal Barrows McDonald, the marketing supervisor from the Students Loan Bureau. And for me, I know the Students Loan Bureau is one of the more popular options for financing for Jamaicans, and they have over the years consistently given many persons opportunities to further their studies. And of course, the government recently announced several changes to the students loan offering. But of course, I won't take over the presentation. I'll hand over to Mrs. Barrows McDonald to tell us some more about that.
Thank you so much, Ms. Clark. Good morning, or is it afternoon? Good morning, everyone. I'm Crystal Barrows McDonald, and I represent the Students Loan Bureau, your financial partner for tertiary education. Okay, what do we do at the Students Loan Bureau? Essentially, what we do is provide funding or financing to Jamaican nationals pursuing tertiary level education and needs assistance with tuition financing. No, don't worry, 99% of the students who apply for SLB financing are successful. We have 3 loan solutions that we offer. These include the targeted loan, which is our most popular loan type or loan solution. And next we have the pay as you study loan. And ultimately we have the postgraduate loan. Note, we no longer require guarantors for all our loan solutions. Now, under the targeted loan solution, it caters to applicants pursuing undergraduate studies. And by that, I mean persons who are doing either a bachelor's, an associate degree, or a diploma. Borrowers are not required to repay this loan until they've finished school. So in other words, if you're doing a 4-year program, you're not required to repay the loan until you've finished the 4-year program. In fact, after completing your 4-year tenure, say for example at J-TEC, you get an additional 14 months after the 4 years has ended before the loan goes into repayment. Because at the Students' Loan Bureau, we understand that after having completed your university education, even though you're qualified and employable, you may not land a job right away. So we give you an additional 14 months on the 4 years, or if you're going to UA, 3 years after completing your studies before the loan goes into repayment. You also receive 100% tuition financing, and borrowers get 15 to 20 years to repay their loan. We have one of the lowest interest rates in the marketplace under the targeted loan. Now, while you're in school or in the moratorium period, as we term it, you accrue an interest of 7.8%. Once you finish school and you enter repayment, that 7.8 cuts off, and then you contend with a 9.5% interest rate. That is during the repayment period. So at no point are you dealing with these interest rates concurrently or at the same time. All right. Now, under the targeted loan, you access up to a total of $1 million per academic year, and our application period usually opens in May or June. However, for this year, we're opening mid-June. Our application for 2025, we're looking to open mid-June. Now, as it relates to our grants, we have the granting aid that we offer to students. No, the grant is not something that you can apply for outside of a loan. It's something that you apply for. By applying for a loan, you're automatically evaluated for a granting aid. So 4,200 applicants will get $60,000 to assist with school-related expenses. Okay? So again, let me reiterate that the grant is not something that you can apply for exclusive of the loan. You have to first apply for a loan to be considered for a granting aid of $60,000. However, we have a ranking system, and automatically, if you're a PATH beneficiary or a ward of the state, or you belong to a low-income household, you automatically get the $60,000. Now I will move on to the Pay As You Study loan product. As the name suggests, Pay As You Study pays. It means that you are servicing that loan right away. It is not like the targeted loan where you repay after completing your course of study. All right. This loan type caters to persons who are professionals, parents, relatives, or a spouse can sign on behalf of a student. All right. So you are the dependent student who's attending school, but mommy, daddy, or uncle, or an older brother or sister can take this loan and pay us back via salary deduction on a monthly basis. For this loan type, you access up to $1 million per academic year. And as I said before, you repay via salary deduction. And recently, we're under the Ministry of Finance and Public Service. So we've had to effect a new policy for the PAYS loan. Usually it was 7 years that you got to repay the loan, or 84 months. That has now been upgraded to 120 months or 10 years to repay the Pay As You Study loan. The interest rate on this loan product is 6% per annum. And of course, like any other loan, you apply online. Now, if you borrow as much as $282,000, just to give you a ballpark figure, you can pay as low as $4,800 per month under the PAYS loan solution. A credit check is mandatory, and of course, you apply online. Now, how do you apply for an SLB loan? For new and first-time applicants, you would visit our website at www.slbja.com and you click on the Apply Online tab to access our customer portal. You select Sign Up on the portal and complete the registration process with an active email address and mobile number. You'll receive a one-time password rather, which will be sent to your email and mobile number. You log in by entering your credentials on the landing page, select the new loan tab, and then loan type you desire. And again, let me just reiterate, the loan types are that of the targeted loan, the pay-as-you-study loan, and the postgraduate loan. You complete your online application and then you upload your relevant documents. After having uploaded your documents, you would pay your fees via our customer portal or at any of our third-party agencies, such as Bill Express or Paymaster. After you've uploaded your relevant documents, remember now that once you get loan approval, there are certain contractual documents that have to be signed. Those documents cannot be uploaded, right? Things like your birth certificate, your TRN, etc., those can be uploaded, right? However, the contract, which includes the promissory note, the certificate of agreement, those documents need to be physically submitted, right, at our office via our Dropbox facility. We also have partnerships with some of the approved tertiary institutions to include UE, J-TEC, MICO, NCU. So they also assist with the submission of documents. So you can submit your documents there at any of those applicable institutions. The documents required for the application process include your TRN, a passport-sized photograph, a valid photo identification, whether it be a passport, driver's license, or a national ID, your birth certificate, an address verification form. If it is that you choose not to download rather this form, you can always use a utility bill that has your name on it, or a bank statement. There is also need for the credit bureau authorization form, which is available for download on our website. And lastly, the applicant declaration form. Oh, I forgot this one, my mistake. The income verification. So even though we no longer need guarantors, this is very essential because it's the proof of income for the person who is financially responsible for you in your household. So that comes in either two modes, either the last 3 salary slips or a job letter from the current employer. That is for the person who is financially responsible for you within your household. What are the advantages of accessing SLSB's loans? We have one of the lowest interest rates in the marketplace, 6% per annum, and can be as low as 4% under special conditions. We have a moratorium or in-school period where no payments are required, and grants of $60,000 to assist persons with school-related expenses. No collateral is required for student loan. No application fee is required for applicants who are PAF beneficiaries or wards of the state. Children of public sector workers receive a 1% reduction in the interest rate during the moratorium or the in-school period and in the repayment period. And a 35% discount is given to persons as are awarded to persons paying their application fees. Students who apply and qualify for the Jamaica Values and Attitude Program, which is the JAMVAT, we don't normally give you 100% because the Ministry of Education is already giving you 30%. We will give you the difference of 70% of your tuition. Now, we also have a good standing program where if your GPA while you're in school is 2.5 and over, you benefit from a 2% reduction in the interest rate. So for example, under the targeted loan, the 7.8% will be further reduced to 5.8% once your GPA is 2.5 and over for those persons who are in school. Whilst in the repayment period, for those persons whose accounts are up to date or no more than 30 days past due, they also benefit from a 2% reduction in the interest rate. So the 9.5% that is accrued during the repayment period, that is further slashed to 7.5%. Ultimately, borrowers permanently employed to a registered charity for at least 1 year will also benefit from a 10% debt forgiveness. What's next? Apply today, bridging the gap between your dreams and reality. Now, if you need to contact us, you have all the platforms that we're currently on. So you can take these down so that you can make contact with us if necessary. Thank you so much. That concludes my presentation. And I also want to thank J-TEC for having invited us to this webinar. And we continue to look forward to more applications from the persons who are listening. And we wish you all the best on your academic journey.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Barrows McDonald, Marketing Supervisor at the Students Loan Bureau, for joining us and for sharing all that information. And of course, as she mentioned, the Students Loan Bureau has 3 options. They have the targeted loan, the pay-as-you-study loan, and the postgraduate loan opportunity. And some of the benefits of going through the Students Loan Bureau: low interest, moratorium, so that's a period where you won't have to pay anything for a little while you build up your finances and get the payments going. No collateral required. Of course, we recently learned that there are no guarantors required as well. No application fee for path students or wards of the state. Children of public sector workers receive a 1% reduction in the interest rate. They offer up to 70% financing for JAMVAT recipients and a 10% debt forgiveness for persons employed to registered charities for at least a year. Wow, student loan has a lot to offer. And I see a question in the chat here. It says, are these loans extended to students studying abroad? So Mrs. Barrows McDonald, if that's something you can address, are student loans extended to students studying abroad?
Well, the only universities that we fund outside of Jamaica are UA St. Augustine and UA Cave Hill. So outside of those 2, no.
Okay, thank you so much. So
You're
yes, so
most
this is
welcome.
specific to studies in Jamaica and
That's
at
correct.
extensions of the University of the West Indies in
Correct.
Barbados and Trinidad, respectively. All right, it says, when will the application be open for this year?
We're looking at mid-June. I can't give you a specific date, but I can tell you it's mid-June.
Mid-June, okay, no problem. And of course, you can stay tuned to the Student Loan Bureau social media platforms for those updates. They're very active online. Yes, they're very active. So you will see all the updates as they are made available.
And also, and you just let me just mention this, Brittany, that we will be relocating.
Okay.
We're moving very soon.
Nice.
We don't want to tell the persons just yet, but it's not far away from where we're originally located, but it's closer to UTEC and UE. Let me just
perfect.
All right.
Wonderful,
so
wonderful.
We'll keep you posted on that.
All right, nice. So we get some VIP inside scoop. Appreciate it. So we can look out for those updates as well. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, I see one more important question here coming in from Jared. It says, how does the income verification process work if the person responsible for you is self-employed rather or retired?
Okay, thank you for that question. In the event that you are in fact self-employed, on our website we have a form that is downloadable. It's called the Declaration of Self-Employment Form. So what you would do is to print that form, and then you would have a JP certified, right? Just to confirm that the person is in fact self-employed. Say, for example, as a cosmetologist, and the person earns X monthly, and that would basically authenticate the document once the JP signs it and stamps.
Okay,
in the case of persons who are pensioners, then you would submit your pension slips. Last 3. All right.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you so much, Jared. I hope that answers your question. All right. Do we have any more questions before we sign out? Going once, going twice. All right, so it seems like all questions have been answered. There is an evaluation form that I'd like everyone to respond to now. The J-TEC team has shared it in the chat. So please, we need your feedback so that we can note how we can improve these sessions or if these sessions were beneficial to you. So please take a moment to complete that evaluation before you go. Yes, very, very important as we want to ensure that these sessions continue to add value to the spaces and to give you all the necessary information that you need when it comes to financing and scholarship opportunities. And I'm echoing the sentiments of Ms. Tracy Ann from J-TEC. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Yes, it was a pleasure having all of you on the platform. The numbers stayed consistent right throughout, which is wonderful. And again, if you missed parts of this webinar, it will be available on the Jamaica Tertiary Education Commission's YouTube channel. So that's J-TEC. You'll check out their YouTube channel. You can rewatch, pause, make notes, make your contacts, and apply for the scholarship opportunities that are available to you. All right, so my name is Brittany Clark. It was a pleasure serving as your moderator for this scholarship and financing webinar. And I'm looking forward to seeing, I see many, many names here. I'm looking forward to seeing those names and faces showing up at our universities. UTEC, we have UTEC, UE, and all of that, even in the papers for some of your recipients. I know some institutions highlight their awardees. So looking forward to seeing that come out of this batch. And again, continue to spread the word, share the information, but ensure that you apply, right? The only opportunity that's wasted is one that's missed. So you don't want to just sit there saying, oh, I wonder, until the deadline passes and then the opportunity has passed. So please apply, please take advantage of the opportunities and spread the word. All right, so thank you so much. And on behalf of the J-TEC team, thanks to everyone for being here and all the very best in your application processes. All right, thanks so much. Responses to the evaluation form. Remember, don't leave before you do it. I see the numbers, so I don't want to have a short or low response value. But while we allow you some more time, we thank Tracy Ann Smith, Director of Policy Planning and Research from J-TEC. We also thank our team lead at for the Tertiary Students Assistance Program under the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, Ms. Michelle Williams. We also move to thank Latoya Akart Foster, our Project Manager from the Chase Fund. We thank Ms. Pauline Maduri from UTEC Jamaica. She's a scholarship officer. Also, we had online Ms. Carisha Larmond, Head of Student Financing at the UE Mona. Delriana Thomas, Senior Talent Management Officer for Scholarships and Assistance. She presented on behalf of the Scholarship Unit for the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. And of course, rounding things off for today's session, Mrs. Crystal Barrows McDonald, Marketing Supervisor from the Students Loan Bureau. All right, so again, please complete the evaluation form. And of course, we look forward to congratulating all of you on your successful applications. All right, thanks so much, Ms. Smith. I hand over to you if you have any closing remarks or final words.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. No closing remarks. You covered it quite well. Just want to thank everyone for joining. It was indeed a pleasure on behalf of J-TEC to have this webinar, and look out for more webinars coming in the future. Bye, everyone.